Alright guys, today I wanted to share with you some footage from a gaming PC I built for just $100 and running Linux with Ubuntu 20.04, and I'm gonna show you basically a couple of games running on it. I took this footage using a video camera in my hand while I was playing, so don't expect great gameplay to appear here. It's just for demonstration of frame rates. You can see here Rocket League running at high settings. I think the only thing I changed is the texture to be slightly lower than the maximum. Otherwise it runs at smooth 60 frames per second. And again, this is a very modest gaming PC. You will see the whole detail about the configuration in the article attached to this video. You will see his Streets of Rage 4 running at full details at 60 frames per second. No problem here. It's not a very demanding game, so it's not very surprising. But still very nice to see that you can run also these recent kind of games without any issue on this device. Next, we'll be moving to slightly more demanding games. This is A Hat in Time, which is a platformer. Pretty cool game actually. And this one is running at medium settings. I'd say somewhere between medium and high. It's just like custom settings. Went as far as I could, and still maintaining about a smooth 30 frames per second frame rates. I can see it runs pretty well. It's very playable, and it looks great even at not on the max settings, but still very reasonable graphic settings overall, and very pleasant to deal with. Not that this hardware, as I mentioned, so it's all used parts. So of course, it's probably not possible to buy something at $100 for new and get this kind of performance anywhere. But if you look for used hardware, and with this kind of case, I wanted to basically make it as cheap as possible. Like with the $100 goal, you can actually get a pretty decent performance on many kind of games. This is Dirt.4 now. .4, this particular case is running as a Linux client. So it's the Feral ports, and we are the medium settings here. So it's still reasonably looking well. And what you get there is about 30 frames per second, typically running pretty well on this kind of rally race. It gets a little worse when you get to the kind of buggy races and closed circuits, where you would typically maybe get slightly lower frame rates unless you lower the settings. But at this kind of competition, kind of event, typically runs pretty well. You can even go with higher frame rate if you go inside the car. You probably see that at some point soon. I think in that video I switched later to inside view or front view. So yeah, it's not just games running with Proton. So even this current game is running with Vulkan, and it runs great as well on this particular title. Yeah, and I'd like to mention that 30 FPS, of course, is not ideal. Everybody wants to have 60 FPS, but all these kind of games at 30 FPS are very playable. It's pretty much like what you had on console before. For the recent regenerations, you used to have like pretty much games running at 30 FPS, and it was still fine in most use case. Yeah, as you can see, I can't drive and take a video at the same time. Yeah, that's expected. And next, we move to probably more demanding title, which is Doom. This is Doom 2016, not the first Doom. Yeah, and it's run at medium settings, and I played a bit with different setup, and the medium settings actually running very well. It's very solid 30 FPS. Sometimes go a little bit lower than 30 when there's a lot of action and a lot of things happening around you. But overall, pretty solid at 30 FPS most of the time. and I went through these several levels using that hardware. It was no issue for me to actually play and frag as much as I wanted. This is Ni no Kuni, very nice game, running here at custom settings, somewhere between low and medium. I adjusted it a little bit to get the maximum frame rate I could get, while still having pretty nice graphics. And you can see here is pretty solid at 30 FPS in this casino village area. This is one of the area which is pretty demanding in the game, so it's a good example of how well this hardware can run this kind of complex scene and details. And you can see on the top left with the mango hut, a pretty nice frame rate overall. So yeah, that's it. So hope you enjoyed this video. You can see that with $100 hardware, you can go pretty far.